Okay, cool. So, what do I mean when everyone should be an actor? No, I don't mean you should be overly dramatic all the time and singing musicals and being annoying. You can be, I won't stop you, but I'm not saying that. I'm saying there's some essential skills that are taught in drama classes the world over, and those essential skills can be used in your life in order to better your life. These skills include, or abilities, communicating ideas and stories to others. This is public speaking, what I'm doing right now, which has been done here all day. Changing perspectives. This is where we consider other viewpoints, we understand what other people think, why they're thinking that, and how we can kind of gain common ground with them. We work with other individuals to achieve a common goal. Teamwork, you work in a group of people to achieve a project, to get an assignment done. And last but not leastly, developing a mindset of mental flexibility, where you can be ready on the fly for anything that could happen in life. So we'll begin with the first one, because this is obviously the most obvious one, communication. Communicating your ideas to people in a profound way. So one big thing that we do in drama class is we study the human voice, its versatility, and how it can be used to essentially change people's minds, and how it can be used to convince and to convey meaning. One big thing that we study is enunciation. We do a lot of tongue twisters where you learn how to pronounce really big, difficult words in a relatively short amount of time, and you don't stumble through your words, and your voice and your speech patterns make sense when you're talking out loud. So, I'm not hearing her mumble and you can hear me, but you can hear me loud and clearly, and that's a big thing we learn in drama class that I would argue a lot of public speakers out there, a lot of our politicians don't know how to do, is to enunciate and just to speak clearly and calmly. And that's a big deal. Being able to speak like that is very important, especially in today's society where the voice is the one way we communicate with others. So the next ability that we have is changing perspectives. And when I mean changing perspectives, that means considering other viewpoints. And how we learn about this in a drama class is, well, actors, they do what they do is they act. That means they are assigned a character, they're casted, and as that assigned character, they're supposed to take on the attributes, and they're supposed to kind of become that character. So what does that mean? Well, in a drama class, we do a lot of research. You're assigned a character, and you have to look into where they were born, how their family life was, how much money their parents were making, what kind of accent they have, things like that. A very big example of this is I had to play a butler, Rogers, from And Then There Were None, the play written by Agatha Christie. And the one thing I had to do is I had to study Rogers and how he thought and what he thought of. And that's what I did with that is, so Rogers was a 19th century British servant, very lower class, and the things that I had to study about him was his accent. Because a very important thing about his accent was he was from a different part of the island of Britain, and a more northern part, so his accent was different, and he came from a poorer part, so his grammar and his speech patterns were therefore less elevated, and he kind of, he didn't speak properly. So I really had to study that and know, okay, I have to leave the R out there, put the S in there, pluralize this when it shouldn't be pluralized, and, you have to remember a lot of that. So, one big thing was, you have that very elevated accent of the London and Canterbury aristocracies that everyone hears. But Rogers didn't have that one. He had a very mild and, Ethel, what are you doing? Things like that and his grammar just wasn't correct. And I would have never learned that even a distinct difference in your accent can tell a lot about where you've come from and where you're potentially going. Because Rogers wasn't going anywhere far. He was poor, and he would always be poor, and he would always be a servant. And that was a very important thing that I learned in my drama class, is that other perspective. And through this research of learning these other perspectives and learning how other people think, you learn a lot about human behavior and how people think, and potentially how to put yourself in someone else's shoes so you can consider where they're coming from and where they're going. the next ability that I think that all drama classes teach, especially, is teamwork. And so essentially, what we do in drama class is we have to work in a team. We're given a bunch of individuals are put in a room together, and they're asked to tell a story. This story is usually a play, it's a showcase, it's an opera, it's a musical, and they have to combine so much of their talent into one central thing, one central show where they're able to tell that story. And drama class is a great way of teaching teamwork because it's a very forced environment. You have to work with the people around you, or you're not going to get anything done. The show will not go on. So that's a very big thing that we learn is, hey, I really don't like Bob over there, and I'm not a fan. I'm really not a fan, but I still have to work with him because he's my scene partner. And teamwork is a very big thing in today's society because you have to be able to work with someone on the job to complete a project when your boss tells you this needs to get done. So very important when it comes to teamwork because it's a forced environment where you have to work together with those around you. And I think that's why drama and the theater are so compelling, is because you have all these different people with all these different ideas, and they're thinking all these different thoughts, and they have all these different agendas, and they have different skill sets, and they think differently, and they feel differently, and some are really bad actors, some are really good actors, some people can't talk, some people can talk really well, and you combine these different perspectives, and you create a single story. You tell a single story, and that's what makes it so special, is that you have the costume designers and the light technicians and the sound technicians, and everyone works together to create this one story, and you convey this one message out of all this disorder. And I think that's why drama class teaches such good teamwork, is because you're forced to learn that teamwork and to work together to create something that is honestly very interesting and very compelling. And the final, but I would argue the most important thing we learn in drama class is the mental flexibility. And that means thinking on your feet, being ready for anything that could happen. So one thing we do in drama class is we play a lot of improv games. So improv is improvisation where you have to make it up on the spot. You're given a scene, McDonald's, and you're given an occupation. Well, I'm a doctor, and you have to become that person instantly and act as them. And you don't know what your scene partner is going to say to you, and you have to be prepared for anything they're going to say to you. And improv is actually a good microcosm of life, because what is life? I don't know what my brother's going to say to me in the morning when I wake up and I look him in the eye. No idea. I can predict it, and it's not always good. But that's why it's so important, this mental flexibility, is you're always on your feet and you're always thinking. And one great example of this is on stage when someone forgets their line. And this is a big deal, because sometimes the line will trigger the next part of the story, and you can't go on without that. And that's one big thing we learn, is you got to keep going. You got to keep chugging along. You got to somehow pull that line out of that person's mouth and just keep working that story on. So mental flexibility, it's very big, very important. It teaches us a lot. It can help you prepare yourself for life, and essentially teaches you how to just be ready for anything. And another thing that I've learned in drama class that goes along with this hand in hand, is being prepared for anything. An example is, we had a drama show called Hay Fever, and we had a breakfast scene. And we had to make toast for the breakfast scene, so people would eat the toast on stage. It was an English breakfast, so you had to have the toast and everything. But what happened is the day before the show, it was actually opening night, a few hours before, we were toasting the toast in a toaster oven. And the toaster oven went up in flames, right down there in the theater. And this was bad because we needed that, this is very overly dramatic, but we needed that toast. We needed it for the show. The show could have gone on without the toast, it didn't really matter, but we just needed the toast. So with that situation, we just had to make the most of it. We just had to keep going on and keep working at it. We thought about it, we thought about what would go with the situation, and we decided on cinnamon rolls. So that really taught us that you have to be ready for anything that life can throw at you. You have to be ready for potentially anything that could happen. We didn't think the toaster oven would catch fire, but it happened. So there we have it. Drama class teaches important skills, important life skills. Public speaking, working in a group of people, teamwork, being prepared, mental preparedness, and lastly, but not leastly, just knowing how to do stuff up on the fly and just being ready for anything, being ready for whatever life throws at you. Thank you.